some, I think, really interesting rumors and reports from ESPN's Todd Archer. We obviously broke down his roster projection earlier this week. There were several noteworthy tidbits in that piece as well on Stephon Gilmore, trading a quarterback, some other trade candidates, a sleeper to watch. We will break that all down as we are getting closer and closer to the first preseason watch party game. It's coming up in about 2 weeks, August 11th. I cannot wait. We're going to have a lot of Trey Lance out there. The preseason matters a little bit more than we've had in the past. So make sure you guys are locked in. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. So Todd Archer did not rule out a possible return of Stephon Gilmore to the Dallas Cowboys, which I think is really noteworthy. Here's exactly what Todd wrote. It's up in the air a bit after the top three, Diggs, Bland, and Lewis, which means a return of Stephon Gilmore cannot be ruled out. Now, there's nothing actually new right now on where things sit with the Stephon Gilmore contract negotiations with other teams. It's training camp is here for all 32 teams. Hasn't been much progress. In an ideal world, I would bring back Stephon Gilmore as veteran insurance for a really good football player. In case something bad happens with Diggs or Bland or Lewis and or Kalen Carson, Deshaun Wright, Eric Scott are simply not good enough. Gilmore stands out as a fantastic option. He knows the team. He knows most of the coaching staff, not all of it. I think his high football IQ would work with what Mike Zimmer likes to do on the defensive side of the football. Bringing back Gilmore in a bubble does make sense. Now, the issues are, if he wants to start, it's not really what Todd said. Todd mentioned backup stuff. Does Gilmore want to be a backup? Does he want to get paid like a backup? All of those things raise very valid questions about what the fit actually looks like in reality for Stephon Gilmore and for Dallas. But until he signs, that door's open. And it wouldn't remove all the ill will towards the organization, but we'd be happy about it. We ain't been happy too much since December. So will Stephon Gilmore return to the Cowboys? Y for yes, N for no. I want you guys to go ahead and sound off for me, in particular at the pinned comment of today's show. So if that ad happens to come here on the YouTube side of things, that is just fine. Take advantage of it. Head down there. Y for yes, N for no. Do you want Stephon Gilmore to return to the Cowboys? One trade bait mentioned by Todd Archer, who I actually, as a quick aside here, we'll talk about Junior Fehoko as a possible trade candidate. I appreciate that Todd Archer actually put good nuggets in his piece. He had good information there. It wasn't just a, here's the list of the players in 2 sentences. Like some of the, I read all the roster projections. Some of them were just like, yeah, these are the 3 guys. No insight. This was insightful. Fehoko, Archer wrote, a 4th-round pick last year, could be trade bait and will have to impress early after not playing as a rookie. Now, again, there's nothing overly shocking in terms of like he didn't impress very much there. Is noteworthy about the trade bait element as it sits for the Cowboys and for Junior Fehoko. If that is the case, he doesn't impress, time to text Dan Quinn, you up. Because for some of these young defenders, Eric Scott missed out on Archer's 53-man roster projection too, which we mentioned on that video. The sponsor, so to speak, is not there. The guy that had a big hand in drafting them, Dan Quinn, also probably adding dirty, those guys are gone. It's a new regime with Mike Zimmer and Jeff Z, which I always mispronounce names, so I'm not going to do it again here. The D-line coach, Greg Ellis. Those guys aren't as committed to developing them. And they're all on one-year deals. They got to win games now, which that's how you get from we to me pretty quickly, by the way. Now, today's show is made possible by Rocket Money. You know, most Americans, folks, think they spend about $62 a month on subscriptions. The real number is more like $300. That is thousands of dollars a year. At least a few of them we've forgotten about. It's only natural. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills, all in one place so you can help grow your savings. With Rocket Money, you got full control over your subscriptions, a clear view of your expenses and your budget, help you create a custom budget so you can keep your spending on track. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when you use all of the app features. I wish there was one for the salary cap because the Jones boys could use it. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/cowboys. That's rocketmoney.com/cowboys. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. rocketmoney.com/cowboys. Viliami Fehoko, a.k.a. Junior Fehoko, he does go by both, was a redshirt year player for the Cowboys last season, which is tough when he's your 4th-round pick and you get even less impact, I think even Overshown, because Overshown at least looked good, than the other guys on your roster. It was a wasted class in year 1. In interest of transparency, I had a 5th-round grade on Fehoko. He was my number 26 defensive end. He was a tweener, DE, DT. I wouldn't be shocked if he got some reps at DT at camp. We'll learn more in the coming days. I had him at 172 overall. Cowboys took him at 129 overall. And I actually didn't realize this until the other day when I looked at it. I actually had Tyrus Wheat higher than Fehoko. Now, technically speaking, Wheat helped you more. He actually played on special teams a decent amount. Even though he was a undrafted free agent. I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys put Fehoko at defensive tackle because there's nobody else. It's Osa who, if he goes down, we're in trouble, man. Mozzie Smith is a one technique. Justin Rodgers is a one technique. Carl Davis is a one technique. Frankly, Denzel Daxon's a one technique too, but it just doesn't fit. Golston, Fehoko, and maybe Marshawn Nealon kind of fit that they can play some defensive end. They can play some defensive tackle. They're kind of in the Tyrone Crawford was the good version of that player, at least for this team, right? Pass rush-wise, you got Micah, Lawrence, Williams, Nealon. At best, Fehoko's defensive end 5 on this team. More investment in the other 4 guys. Better impact in the other 4 guys. DT, it could be 3 or 4. Maybe 5. So I do think he has to earn a role. Maybe makes team no matter what, has to earn a role in the end. So will the Cowboys make a trade before the season? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Sound off where else but the comments of this video. Now, Archer also mentioned a possible quarterback trade. All of the attention is going to be paid to Trey Lance, maybe more so than Dak Prescott this year. Lance is fighting for his future in the NFL, which I think is very noteworthy with where things sit. How do things all play out for the Cowboys in this organization with where things sit at the moment, and how do they maximize winning now with Dak and the long-term future? This is what Todd Archer wrote. If Lance plays well, maybe he becomes the quarterback of the future with Prescott in the final year of his deal. Or trade bait. Rush, 6-1 as a starter, could also be trade bait for teams needing a quality backup. Look, Archer mentioning a trade, even probably more so for Lance than Rush, that stands out to me. I still think it's unlikely because, again, if Lance looks good, then you probably want to keep him. And if he doesn't look good, no one's going to want to trade for him. It's again, that weird dichotomy thing there. But Lance has a lot riding on this training camp and preseason. It didn't work out in San Francisco. He's had a year-ish to learn the offense and get acclimated. And one under-the-radar element, I think Big Mike knows this. They're going to win games with Dak at quarterback this year. That's how it's going to be. He, by far, gives them the best chance because they've been a top 5 offense every year with Mike and Dak healthy, which is, I think, often overlooked. So how much time does Mike want to invest in Trey Lance? Because Mike's coaching for his job. If Mike had a new 4-year deal, I bet he'd spend more time with Lance. Now, Mike get delegated instead. Going to spend 10 minutes working on, the 15 minutes into practice. You're going to work with Lance or Cooper Rush. Same thing goes for him here, who's just a backup in the end. Or are you going to spend the next 15 minutes let me try to tweak this thing in our red zone package to save my job. You're looking a lot more short term than you are long term. And that's how you get organizational philosophy differences. As for Rush, I don't think there's going to be any interest in him. We know who he is. He's a fine backup QB. He's fine. But he was a free agent, and nobody really wanted him. And I don't know why that would change, a year later with no other really new experience. So pick a new backup, or a backup QB, I suppose. Technically, Rush would not be new. TL for Trey Lance, CR for Cooper Rush. Let's talk a sleeper to watch here. ESPN's Todd Archer listed Princeton Fant, not Brevin Spanford, not Peyton Hendershot, not anybody else, as the sleeper to watch in the tight end room. This is several different reporters who have mentioned this. This is someone that is kind of not like pushed and grilled and like challenged isn't the right word, but like you've seen Dak give a little bit extra energy towards him in a positive way of like, hey, do this, that like extra time and energy devoted to helping him get better. Has fans in the organization. I think there's 2 tight end roster locks, Jake Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker. Up to 2 are open. Hendershot, John Stevens, Princeton Fant, Brevin Spanford. I doubt Alec Kohler, but he's on the team too, because you're not going to play Fergie in the preseason. There's room for those guys to make the team and make an impact. So we'll be watching Fant, especially in the preseason.